So I'm going to try and talk just a little bit about what we're doing at Palmer Capital, and I'll start off just with the obligatory, this is Palmer Capital. So we are split up into three different arms. We've got the income, the investment side. We've got shares in 8 property companies. So we're dealing with the asset management, property development, as well as we've just started up a new BTS, package living, part of the business as well. So we have a lot of things to think about across the full life cycle. Now, I am not going to be talking about AI. Oh, that didn't come up nicely at all. So I'm not going to be talking about AI, blockchain, or smart buildings, or anything like that. My background is in technology. My background is in retail and finance, and I can talk a lot about that to death. But I think we're at a stage now where we need to really just start talking about what we've actually been doing, and some of the challenges that we've been facing, and over the next few months, you'll be hearing a lot more of that coming through. So, for us, and you've heard it a lot, customer experience, and this is at the center of everything that we're doing. Starting with the basics of understanding exactly who are our customers. It's an interesting topic. Lots of people have different views about who they are. For us, that's the investors, that's the tenants, that's the occupiers. For me, actually, that's anyone that interacts with our brand. I don't care whether it's a visitor into one of our buildings, whether it's someone just passing by, seeing one of our adverts. All of these people are people that we need to be understanding what's driving their needs, so that when we're marketing to them, when we're selling to them, when we're looking to get investments, we need to understand them in a much better way. Data, interoperability, security, you've heard it before. But actually for us, coming in, I come from a background where every decision is based upon some data point somewhere. There's little to no gut feeling. It's actually what are the sales saying, what is the customer saying, what is any part of the market saying to help us to make those decisions. So we're starting to take some of that information now, some of the data that we have internally, and starting to structure some of that, and I'll talk about a little bit of that later on. Interoperability. Coming into property, I have never been in an industry where so many things just don't talk to each other. It is, it's sad, really. I would love, and that's one of the key things I want to kind of see come through, especially through the collaborations that we're doing with other companies, is actually finding more of these technologies kind of being able to just talk with each other. I hate the idea of closed source solutions. I hate the idea of proprietary solutions. I'm all about open source. I'm all about sharing. So that's one of the challenges that I am facing internally, is trying to actually say, we should be trying to share more of what we've got. I'm trying to figure out what we can and can't share. And security is a big thing. I said I wasn't going to talk about smart buildings, but actually, as we enable more of our information, as we share more of that information, as we make more of our buildings more tech-enabled, is actually the security. All of these are effectively weak links in the chain if we don't do these things properly. So, for us, one of the things that I've had to learn as well is that, for here, automation isn't everything. So one of the challenges that I've experienced coming in as well is that you could take something which has taken 4 weeks for someone to do, and I've built POCs internally within Palmer Capital to say that took you 4 weeks. This can now be done in 5 seconds. So we've done that with some of the information that we're getting from GVA, some of the information that we're getting from some of our other asset managers, and we've taken those sources and said, okay, let's just automate it. I looked at it and said, yeah, this is easy. Let's just do the algorithms and do that. And actually, what I found, and it was quite interesting listening to the OpenBox company, is that actually they wanted to see something happening. So they weren't comfortable with actually everything just going away and just something just happening immediately. And for me, there is a piece around the change and kind of helping people along that journey to say, this is what you're doing before. Let's work with you, to try and show you, well, actually, what was taking you 4 weeks and was taking you, was allowing you going through all these different spreadsheets. Here's an algorithm. here is a piece of code, here is now the information coming in from all these other sources. It can be done in 5 seconds. Actually, just saying that doesn't necessarily mean that someone's going to pick it up and say, yep, this is great. I see the value prop. Let's just move forward with it. So with automation, there's a heavy element of change that needs to come with that, a heavy element of bringing people along with you. And it's been a challenge internally, and we're getting there, and we're moving forward. But actually, what I'm finding now is that people just want to see some of those stages as they go along so they feel comfortable. So we're doing some POCs now where we've automated a bit of it, and then some of it jumps back into Excel so that they can see it, they can feel comfortable. And then as we do it each month, we then reduce more and more and more so that after a while they're comfortable with actually everything is working fine. Digitization isn't free, but you can do a lot with nothing. So again, this is it'll be different for each company. So Palmer Capital obviously decided to hire me and bring me in. I have some skills in development. And from past organizations, been able to see what we can and can't do with certain bits of technology. And actually there is a lot out there that you can actually do for free if you have the right resources internally. So you've got your Microsofts and the AWS and Googles and all these others, but actually they provide a lot of their platform for free. So at the moment, we've been running POCs, and I'll talk about some of that as well, but we've been running POCs, and I think per month it's cost us maybe £5. But we've actually seen a lot of efficiencies across the business. We've seen, I've been able to prove a lot of that automation. We've been able to work with a few companies like Coyote and GVA, who are our partners as well, to actually prove some concepts to say, well, actually, if we take some of the information, if we can get it in a digital fashion, what could you do with that? And that's one of the things I've also struggled with coming into property, is that in any other industry, I will go and talk to senior stakeholders and say, here is the concept. We're going to digitize all of this stuff. We're going to take this information, let's say, put it in this database, and then you'll be able to get all these analytics, prescriptive, descriptive, etc. And they get it, they understand it, and they say, right, here is 5 million, 10 million, go make it happen. Come back to us every 2 weeks, every 3 months, whatever else. But actually, here it's been difficult to kind of show that concept. And I've had to, again, roll up my sleeves and say, well, let me use some of these technologies to kind of just show you what the art of the possible is. Let me show you what you could do, what could happen if you decided to integrate, if you decided to assign more budget to some of these things. So this is just a small flavor of some of the tech that we're using. But actually that concept of showing, so you're talking about how do you show the value, just being able to help people visualize, because you're talking about a market where you've been dealing with physical things for centuries. And now you're talking about the intangible assets and the value of those things. Actually, it's a difficult leap to make. So taking some time to kind of prove some of that has been some of the challenges that we've gone through. Another thing, measurement. So this was drilled into me a long time ago, that if you're not measuring it, you can't manage it. And one of the key things that I've had to kind of bring in as well is say, well, actually, let's start to measure everything along the value chain. So everyone knows what's supposed to be happening. You're using your Excel documents, and you're kind of checking to see what's going on. But actually being able to say, from the time when an intro came in to the time when you did an acquisition, how long did that take you? What was the people time involved in doing that? Because all of these are metrics to be able to say, well, actually, if we bring in this new tech here, I will be able to reduce the time by X amount. And these are tangible figures that you help people to see. Actually, where you had someone sitting down for 4 weeks and doing some work in it, actually understanding and digging into what are they actually doing, how long is it actually taking them, and factoring that people cost to be able to say, I've now reduced that person's time from 4 weeks, and now it's down to maybe 2 days, but actually you've saved X amount of money. All of these need to come into those into those factors. One of I gave the example of that 4 weeks down to 5 seconds. That's an actual thing that we've done. So the team used to spend every quarter end, they would wait for the information to come in from GVA, all the rent information, across all the other funds, and across that it would take them 4 weeks of the finance team kind of collecting all this information, feeding all of it into their finance solutions, and then cranking out all of the analytics that came from that. And one of the first problems I started with was, how do we reduce that? And yeah, it's a fairly basic thing. None of it is rocket science, but actually working with the likes of GVA to get them to send us our information in a digital format took a long time, but we got there. That information is now feeding in, build the algorithms to automate a lot of that work, and it takes them 5 seconds. And when people realize that, as I said, you've got to bring people along with you, but actually over time they see, well, actually this is really helping us. I can now do other things. Our interactions now with other companies has now changed a lot. So I know we were talking, and I'm hoping it'll come out in the Q&A, but the collaboration piece. So for us, we are using Coyote as part of our asset management space, and we're working with that prop tech firm. But actually, the collaboration there has been really good for us because we've been able to talk the same level. They've been instrumental actually in terms of helping us, to interact with some of our other vendors who are feeding us information, and we're able to kind of, well, personally for me, it's been helpful for me because I've now been able to work with them and actually get a lot of the data that we have into a more structured format, just so that our CEO, the rest of our operations team, they're now able to actually view how the business actually runs from an operational perspective. And we're now actually starting to move into, well, what could we do next year? What other prop tech firms are out there that we could collaborate with to help us moving forward now that we have that data in a better format? And the final thing, so everyone will have a different view about how they work. Every company is different, every culture is different within that company, everybody's different. And actually, everybody's journey will be different. Everybody's endpoint will be different. Listening, standing up here and listening to what I'm saying, this is not, the answer to everything, because actually you may find in your company that you want to use different technologies, or actually the culture in there may say, well, actually, yeah, we want to move forward a lot faster. I found that actually in different parts of the business, so interestingly for me, on the finance side, they have wholeheartedly taken everything on, and they've said, okay, right, we want to change the way in which we work, and we're now in the middle of implementing and finishing off one of the implementations. But on the asset management side, it's taken a bit longer. So each company will work in different speeds, but everybody's journey will be different. Every tech that you use may be different. Every collaboration that you have will be different. And it's about just figuring out for your company, what's your objective? Where are you trying to get to? And focusing on that. Learning from others, yes, but trying to figure out what exactly works for your company and what works best, because everybody will be different. And that's it.
Fantastic.